Hey YouTube, we're going to talk about dry fire training, the equipment needed for it, or the lack thereof. So, let's say you went to the store, you bought your first handgun, right? Cool, I got my handgun. This, in this case, is just a Glock 34. Okay, so I went to the store, bought my first handgun. Great. What else do I need? Really nothing. Um, I would argue that the only thing you need is a piece of tape, or sorry, a roll of tape, I should say. This is just regular blue painter's tape. You can get black too. Black works fine, but get a roll of painter's tape, and this allows you to take little pieces off this, or rip little pieces, or cut little squares out of this, or cut whatever shape you want. It doesn't really matter, but take pieces off this and stick it on the wall, or stick it on items in your house. Now, you could put it on the edge of a TV. You could put it on the edge of a railing. I mean, the sky's the limit in your home where you could put this. I could put it on the corner of the safe up there. I've got a lamp here. I could put it on the corner of the lamp to help give me depth perception when I'm dry firing in my own home. Now, that is really all you need. I have heard people use the corner. So if they don't have tape and they just bought a handgun, they're like, wow, I can't afford $3 worth of tape, but I could afford, a $700 handgun, whatever. Is you can use the corner of your ceiling. So up there, the corner, then look to a new corner, then look to a new corner. And I've heard people do that. That is an option. Now, outside of these two things, there's some other equipment that helps. Now, for competitive shooting, I have base plates on all my magazines. You don't need an extended base pad on my magazines. You don't need that. The magazines that come with the gun are just fine. Okay, I don't know of any brand handguns that don't come with magazines, so you really shouldn't even need to buy any. You can just dry fire with the magazines that you have. Getting the reps of when you dry fire, of getting the magazine in there, manipulating the safety, all those things are great. Okay, some things we can do to enhance some of that, though, if you want to spend some of the money, is a few things. One is I can buy a dry fire magazine. This is made by Double Alpha. This is the Glock style. It's got the little +2 extension on their Glock magazines, and what this is weighted. So it's a weighted piece of plastic, and it's got this basically plungeable fake bullet, as it were, to allow you to rack the slide and have it come back, and it gives some resistance. Okay, so these are great. They're kind of expensive. I want to say they're in the like 20 something a piece, so they can get kind of expensive. However, these are great if you want the weighted magazine to train with. So that's an option. These are Double Alpha, I don't know, magazines, training magazines, I think is what they're called. So that's an option. Another option is, if you want to go a little bit nicer, is you can have someone, or if you have a press, you can press rounds with a dead primer or no primer, and press some rounds, no gunpowder or anything, and then that way you have the actual weight of a round. You can make however many of these that you want, and then you can stuff these in magazines. Now, the only thing I say with this is this can get a little bit dicey. People don't like this because then they go, well, now I've got what looks like ammo that I'm putting in the gun. Yes, I would say if you are not proficient with your handgun, or I should say not necessarily proficient, but you keep everything cluttered together, real ammo and fake ammo, then you definitely should not be doing this. However, if you are into the training aspect of like competitive training and doing it seriously, then I think these are a good option because they keep the weight and allows you to use your actual magazine. The problem with this type of mag is it doesn't feel the same. It's a different material and it's a lot slicker, so it slides out of retention holster or retention pouches way easier than this does. And it's not really the true weight of a loaded magazine. It's like a little bit less, so it feels different too. So some things to consider. And they don't make magazines for every type of handgun out there. Also another thing to consider. So I would say this is only if you are proficient and you are able to keep ammo completely separate from your dry fire stuff, which then I would argue you should just have mags that basically keep these as dry fire magazines. But that's another expense of buying extra magazines. So do you need this? No, it's a good option to have. Another option is dummy rounds. I don't have any directly in front of me, but dummy rounds, if you just look them up, number of companies that make them, they're just, if you're using a 9mm dummy rounds. They're basically plastic, or they're a combination of metal and plastic with a metal casing, plastic bullet, and they allow you to do dry fire training with those as well. You could do the same dry fire training with these, basically this, dead primer rounds as well, but otherwise, generally people use dummy rounds. Very common. Another option, much cheaper than these, because you can buy, I don't know, 20 dummy rounds for 20 bucks or something like that. So you can essentially have a full magazine and do a bunch of dry fire practice. You can't do, with dry fire practice, what I'm going at with that is malfunction training. This, a little bit harder to do malfunction training because it doesn't spit out a round. So you can't do double feeds, these other things, if you're looking to train some of that stuff. Outside of that equipment, we can kind of get into the more niche things like this, a USPSA target. This is a little mini, 1/3, or no, it's got to be smaller than that. Either way, this is a dry fire USPSA target, very small. There's other sizes as well. If I pick up a different one here, here's another one. This one's a little bit bigger. Okay. What I can do with this is I can also take a piece of this tape, put a very small piece on the center of it, and now I've got a really fine aiming reference. Really, all this comes down to is I am trying to drive my eyes to a very small spot on the target, like very, very small. Mel Gibson and I guess Chris Kyle from American Sniper, that sort of stuff, is aim small, miss small. It's very true. Like if you aim to a small spot, you may miss a little bit, but you're giving yourself more than just, okay, if my eyes look at this as an aggregate, I'm good. No, we want to look at a small spot. That helps with training. So these dry fire targets are great. However, do you need them? No. What does a pack of these cost? I think like 15 bucks for a pack, and then you rip them off, and there's like, I don't know, 6 in a pack, because then they come with some little metal fake popper targets as well. So the little steel, falling steel that you would shoot in USPSA as well. So they come with a number of things. These are great. Once again, a little bit of investment. I would say for a very small amount, if you are able to afford this and spend an extra $50 on some of these, maybe some dummy rounds, maybe one of these training mags, like that's what you could get away with of needing. Let's say you bought, though, let's go a step further and say you got a handgun and you got a red dot on it. Cool. So I got a red dot on my handgun. This is where the tape also can help, is building, making sure that you're building good fundamentals by not staring at the dot. So I take my red dot here, I take a piece of this tape, and I occlude the front of the dot, or the front of the optic, I should say. Now, whether you're right or left-handed, I just do my dry fire training like normal. I either look, if I'm right-handed, if I'm left-handed, be the same thing, right? So now, something I've heard somebody tell me is, well, I can't see the target if I do this. Okay, so that tells me you're closing an eye, which we shouldn't be doing. We should be shooting both eyes open. I have yet to hear anyone say, well, I can't see the dot. Or are you closing your right, or are you closing your eye that you're shooting with? Like your dominant eye, if I'm right-handed, would I be closing my right eye? If I'm left-handed, would I be closing my left eye? Or if I have a dominant eye that's in the opposite. So if I'm right-handed, but I'm left eye dominant, and I'm shooting like this, essentially looking through my left eye to shoot, are you closing that eye and then you can't see the dot? So we don't want that to happen. We want to shoot both eyes open, but this is a great way to train the shooting both eyes open, for one, and two is not staying dot focused, but rather staying target focused, because that's what we want to do. We want to aim at the small spot. We don't want to stare at the dot. We want to be aware of it, but don't stare. So that is some simple things to get for dry fire. You don't really need anything more. Um, you can buy some crazy stuff. You can buy walls. You can buy all these things to help with dry fire. You could buy agility sticks and move around them in your house. That's great. Really, what it comes down to is you need very little and just move the stuff in your home as you're dry firing. Change up the location of the targets. Change up where they are, the distances. Don't put them all on one wall and then just look at the wall and go, yep, yep, yep. Okay, great. No, we want to change up distances, focal depth, all these things, because that's what's helping us do the dry fire training. So I'm going to get into some other videos about dry fire training and how to dry fire train. But as far as the equipment needed, that's what I wanted to cover. It's nothing crazy. So let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you're dry firing.